Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. Story 1. Am I the bonehead for not allowing my brother and his boyfriend to come to my honeymoon? I, female 25, got married to my husband, male 27, almost a year ago. We weren't able to afford to go on the honeymoon we wanted back then, so that's why we saved up so we could go to Hawaii for our 1-year anniversary. The trip is supposed to happen next month. We mentioned our plans to our family when my brother, male 23, suddenly chimed in saying that Hawaii is a great idea and that him and his boyfriend will join too. I was taken aback when he said that, and I told him that this isn't a random trip and it's supposed to be our honeymoon. But he said that we could do a double couples honeymoon together so him and his boyfriend can feel the experience of one as well. I told him that if he wants to feel the experience of a honeymoon, they can just go to a separate trip instead of hijacking ours. But my brother went off at me saying that I'm selfish for not sharing this experience with him when I know that our country doesn't allow gay marriages, and so he's never gonna feel the experience of a real honeymoon, and this will be as close as he gets, and somehow my parents are now backing him up as well. Well, mostly my mom, but my dad usually goes along with her in order to avoid family conflict. Not gonna lie, at this point I feel like giving my brother the wrong location of our honeymoon, so there's no possibility of him and his boyfriend somehow hijacking it. Am I the bonehead? Now for some top comments. Yeah, hard not the bonehead. Your brother wants a honeymoon experience but wants to go with another couple? I don't know what he thinks honeymoons are for, but my wife and I most definitely did not want spectators along on our honeymoon. The very point of the honeymoon is to get one-on-one time, just you and your newlywed partner. Your brother can and should most definitely have a honeymoon experience, but by themselves, just the two of them, somewhere far away from you. Don't tell them the hotel, or your travel dates, or plans for when you are there. And if they already know this stuff, change it if possible without telling them. The only selfish person here is your brother for insisting that your honeymoon go according to his plans. Entitled much? Not the bonehead. You can't prevent him from going to Hawaii at the same time as you. You can, however, refuse to see them at any point during the trip. All lodging, food, activities, and transportation should be 100% on them alone to arrange for and pay. Refuse to communicate about this anymore. If they show up with no hotel, don't let them in. They can find a bench to sleep on. Not the bonehead. If your brother wants the honeymoon experience, he can go on one. You going alone on your honeymoon doesn't prevent him from going on an unmarried honeymoon with his honey. There are some experiences, like being alone on a vacation with your partner, that by definition cannot be shared with more than one person. Your person is your husband. Story 2. Am I the bonehead for buying my former nanny a house instead of my dad? So I, female 30, recently bought a house for my former nanny. My entire childhood, I was raised by my nanny Jane, as my mom was the breadwinner and my dad wasn't in the picture at all. Jane attended every after-school activity, graduation, and parent-teacher conference. Jane basically raised me, and I see her as my second mom. My mom employed Jane as a nanny and housekeeper from when I was 2 until I was 28, when my mom passed away due to cancer. As a result, I inherited everything. My mom was a successful surgeon with her own practice, and my grandparents left her with a few properties in her home country. I have since rented the properties out, giving me a good rental income. Well, after my mom passed away, Jane was there for me. She helped me make all of the funeral arrangements and contact relatives from my mom's home country. After she helped me through this difficult time, I wanted to do something nice to thank Jane. As a birthday gift, I surprised Jane with the deed to a 2-bed, 2-bath house in an area of the country she had always talked about wanting to retire at. Jane tried to decline the gift, saying it was too much, but I told her she was like second mother to me, and that this was the least I could do for her as thanks for raising me. Well, somehow, word got back to my dad that I had bought a house for Jane, and he turned up at my mom's old practice, demanding to talk to me. I didn't even know who the man was, as I've seen him less than 20 times in my entire life. He claimed to be my father and yelled at me for buying a house for a stranger over someone who is family, and says he and his family of 5 have been struggling financially. He even had the audacity to say that I should buy a house for him and my half-siblings, who I have never met because they are my blood family, and I owe it to them. I laughed in his face and told him that Jane had been far more involved in my life growing up than he ever had, and that I didn't care if he was struggling financially. Security then escorted him to his car and made sure he left the property. My dad's side of the family have now been trying to reach out through Facebook. Complete strangers who I've never met saying I'm a bonehead and that my mom never let him be part of my life. I know this is false, since I remember my mom calling him over the years, asking him to pick me up on the weekends to spend time with me, and he never did. I tried to talk with my friend Aiden, male 34, about this problem, who recently reconnected with his dad, who he hadn't seen since he was 6 due to his dad being incarcerated. Aiden told me that my dad probably had a good reason for abandoning me, and that I'm the bonehead because some people don't even have dads. I reminded him I was one of those people. Now he's refusing to talk to me. So Reddit, am I the bonehead? Now for some top comments. Your financial largesse is not your father's business. Not the bonehead. If you don't launch the ship, never stand on the dock with your hand out when it returns. Greed is a witch. And your friend has no depth of background to appreciate what you are going through or to judge you. None. So, that friend can shut the F up. You don't get to have a spoken opinion when you don't know what it's like to be me. I hope you or your mother's will are providing a pension for Jane to live off of, or she will have to sell the house. Not the bonehead. Your sperm donor and his flying monkeys can just fly on by. You don't owe them so much as a hello. As for Aiden, he doesn't get to compare his family dynamics with yours. He's comparing apples to radiators. Not the bonehead, and screw Aiden and anyone who says your dad had a good reason for abandoning you. Also, what the F? I'd love to hear a logical example of how he had to abandon you, but went on to father and raise other kids. If your dad had any reason to abandon you when he was able to be a father, he would have come to you, explained, apologized, asked how he could reconnect with you, and honored your response. He didn't reach out when he was actively parenting his other kids, or even when your mom died, only when he realized you had an inheritance. He still doesn't want to be your father. He just wants your money. You must feel bad about losing your friend, but you shouldn't. He isn't worthy of you, so walk away with your head held high. Story 3. Am I the bonehead for serving my son-in-law's food on a kid's plate? I will try to make this quick. I host dinners for the family, and that includes all of the in-laws. The past year and a half has been a nightmare. My son-in-law cannot deal with food touching, that's fine. So when I plate up his stuff, I make sure it's not touching. At any point in the meal, if the food falls into the other food, then he apparently can't eat it. Then he makes a huge deal about it, and I either have to give him more or deal with him, usually needing with an argument. I have tried to get the whole family to just serve themselves, but they think it is rude, so that doesn't work. I have given smaller portions to him to make sure nothing ever touches, but if I do that, I get accused of starving him. Also, I have talked about this so many times with him and my daughter. I had a dinner yesterday and served his on one of those kids' plates, since I figured it has the mini walls and will prevent everything from touching. He blew up and we got in an argument. The rest of the family is split on the issue, but some found it funny. Am I the bonehead? Now for some top comments. Why do you have to deal with him? What's your daughter doing? It's her husband. She should be handling him. Or better yet, he should be handling his own issue and plate his own food. Yeah, I appreciate he has whatever food issues he has. I presume he's on the spectrum, but it's on him to manage his interactions. I'd just tell your daughter and him that they either have manners in your house or he or they can stay at home. Not the bonehead, but your daughter is. Also, it is not a woman's job to serve her husband. He is the one with the issue. He is the one who needs to find a solution. Just stop dishing up food for adults. Tell them it's rude that they sit around while you act as their maid and nanny, and from now on, people will be serving themselves. Then don't serve them. Dish your food up and sit down. This isn't the 1940s. They can get their act together and no one is dishing up for them when they eat anywhere else. I also hate my food touching, and I love those effing plates. I wish they made adult versions, though I could see a guy so prone to tantrums deciding you were being intentionally passive-aggressive. Stop dishing up for them. Stop it. This is not your job. Who cares if they have feelings about it? They don't care what your feelings about it are. Go on strike. The first time they freak out, tell them that you will also happily stop cooking for them too, if they are going to act like disrespectful children who need a nanny to dish up for them. Not the bonehead. You have tried your best to be accommodating, and he's got a problem with every solution you've offered. People do sometimes have weird quirks, and I don't necessarily hold that against them, but only if they don't make it other people's problem to deal with. I'd give him a choice. He can either serve himself, use the kid's plate, or not eat. By the way, I don't think it's necessary to make the rest of the family serve themselves, although I don't see how it's rude. He's the one who has to have it a certain way, so he can do it himself. Story 4. Am I the bonehead for not inviting my husband's pregnant former coworker to my baby shower because I don't want her to steal the spotlight? Hi, female 30, am pregnant and due in April. My husband, male 35, and I have a baby shower planned next month to celebrate with friends and relatives. This event is very important and meaningful to me, as I have not publicly shared the news with my friends and family on any social platform, i.e. Instagram, Facebook, the usual. My husband is super excited to invite all his friends from work and other social circles to the baby shower, most of whom I generally like and get along with, except for one. Let's call her Sharon. Sharon is my husband's former coworker, and she is also pregnant, a few months after me. I never saw Sharon as a real problem up until last week, where my husband and I attended another good friend's baby shower, where Sharon was also invited. Prior to attending the event, my husband told me to make sure to wear a jacket and keep my baby bump as discreet as possible so that I don't steal the spotlight from my friend, which I completely agree and respect. I was shocked when Sharon showed up wearing the tightest maternity bodycon dress one could ever imagine. Her baby bump was extremely prominent and shown in such a way where it essentially forces the conversation on her pregnancy. This was almost everyone's first time seeing her baby bump. Some people didn't even know she was pregnant. It was incredibly uncomfortable for me as I watched the energy shift from my friend to Sharon. People were more interested in Sharon's baby, asking the usual 20 questions people are keen to ask when they find out someone is expecting. And the worst part is, Sharon seemed to bask in the spotlight and gleefully answered everyone's questions. After witnessing that debacle, I no longer wanted Sharon at my baby shower. Her selfish behavior and attitude made it clear to me that she would try and pull the same exact crap at my baby shower. My husband tells me that not inviting her to my baby shower will cause unnecessary drama, since she is friends with the people who are attending. He also told me that we won't be invited to Sharon's baby shower, and that it will start even more drama, etc., etc. I do care about my husband and the connection he has to his friends, but at the same time, I am hurt that he is not taking my side and understanding why I feel so strongly about this. It just infuriates me that he won't even acknowledge that what Sharon did is wrong and in poor taste. In fact, he is making me feel like I am being overly sensitive and that I am overthinking everything. I have no one to turn to, and I feel that the only course of action for me is to take this girl off the invite list. I am too stressed to think about the consequences this may have on the social group, nor do I have the bandwidth to truly sympathize. I just want to be selfish and think about my baby. Am I the bonehead? Now for some top comments. Not the bonehead. She's shown you she's an attention seeker, believe her. This is worth laying out to dear husband directly. especially since he went to such lengths to censor your wardrobe for the first shower. He didn't want you to look like a bonehead, but he's totally okay with Sharon making you look like a bonehead at your own party. Something smells a bit like a used diaper genie here, and it's coming from your husband's favoritism of another woman. His work friends' assumed perceptions should never be more important than your security, especially around something like a joint baby shower for your first kid. Everyone sucks here. Telling people how to dress to make sure no one talks to them about their baby is crazy. She may be an attention seeker and those people are annoying, but dressed in a way that forces the conversation on her pregnancy? Why could no one pay attention to anyone other than Sharon? Just because she was pregnant. Friend groups often have multiple pregnancies at the same time. Fighting for attention and telling people they have to hide it to come to your party is messed up. You're the bonehead. She is not required to wear a sack, and neither are you. Stop being so insecure. Give yourself a shake. Other people are allowed to be pregnant at the same time as you. That's all for today. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next Reddit story. Take care.